It took a razor-thin margin and a recount, but after 4 long weeks of balancing the ballots, the Liberal Party has finally won a small victory in the Victorian seat of Goldstein. Teal incumbent Zoe Daniel thought she was so bulletproof, she hosted an election night banger. But while the early numbers tipped the tally towards the Teals, the AEC started counting the mail-ins and Tim Wilson's swing was going postal.
We have won the seat of Goldstein back for the Liberal Party.
Initially written off as another Liberal loser in the election bloodbath, Wilson won the final count by a slender 260 votes. So Daniel demanded a recount.
When I said repeatedly before the election that I would fight it to the last vote, this isn't quite what I had in mind.
Now, the final results are in, leaving her 175 votes short and no other option but to concede.
I've called Tim Wilson to congratulate him on winning the seat. Goldstein is now a vastly different seat to the one he once sat in.
For almost 4 decades, Goldstein has been a Liberal stronghold. Then, in 2022, Wilson was one of 6 Liberals wiped out in the Teal wave.
Nobody's going to pretend that you're not shattered in events like this.
His political defeat became a personal campaign to get Goldstein back. And despite the detractors saying the swing was insurmountable, Wilson is the only Liberal to reclaim his seat.
I have gone back to an electorate who has handed my ass to me on a platter, turned around and said, yep, I want to run again. We are going to build a better community and a better Australia together.
And we crashed Tim Wilson's election celebration lunch a little earlier. Tim, are we really, really sure that this is the final result? No more recounts?
Well, the AEC has declared it the final result. The former member for Goldstein has called me and congratulated me, and I've declared it the final result. So I'm not sure that there's any other pathway or anybody is really contesting at this point. So I think we can officially say it's done.
Was that a friendly phone call from Zoe?
Well, it was a polite one. It was a respectful one. Obviously, when you've got 2 people who have quite different views about the direction of the community and the country, and we do. We sometimes have robust disagreements, I think is polite. I think that's the basis in which it was had. She congratulated me, and I greatly appreciate that. But, of course, for her, as it would be for any person, and I say this very sincerely, it's a difficult process, and I have lived it, and I expressed this to her, which is I have enormous empathy for the difficulty it is to go through this journey.
What is the secret to beating the Teals? I'm sure a few of your Liberal colleagues would be keen to know.
We went back to the community and we listened and understood what was the basis of the decisions that they made in the previous election. And there are multiple of them, and some of them are sort of the secret sauce, which I'm not going to broadcast on television because I don't necessarily want them to be alert to it.
Getting rid of Scott Morrison is one of them, we know.
But that's actually one of them, which is to actually understand what are the factors within your control and what are outside of your control. And the thing that stood out more than anything else when I was listening to voters is how much people want a sense of ambition from their political system. They didn't want kind of tired talking points. They didn't want kind of lowbrow politics or fights. They wanted people who are going to stand up, who are going to be confident about the future of the country, speak to their hopes and their ambitions for themselves, their children, their grandchildren. And that's what we did in this campaign. We weren't negative. We were going to sell policies about their dreams and their hopes, and we were going to be part of the solution for their lives, for their community and for their country as well.
Tim, there's obviously a huge battle over the future of the Liberal Party at the moment and which way it should go, whether it should go back to the centre or whether it should go to the right. What direction do you think it needs to go if you're going to hold on to Goldstein?
Well, I think the future of the Liberal Party has always been to be a forward-looking, modern Liberal Party that seeks to embrace the future and define the future. The tension for the Liberal Party is always to make sure that it's conserving the best of the past. And the way to do that is to define the future. That's the way not just to win Goldstein, but to win, of course, city electorates across the country, because there is literally no pathway to government for the Liberal Party if it does not represent city electorates where the overwhelming majority of Australians live. The values that underpin the Liberal Party are central to the Australian way of life. They're about our ambition and aspiration as a country, and we're a better country. Thanks, mate. So somebody running past and wishing you well.
Not bad at all.
Because it's central. That's the flavour. But it's a central ambition that we should want for our country. I want a great country built of citizens, families and communities that see their success anchored to our national success.
Tim, be honest, how much did you pay that guy just then?
A pure fluke, but a nice one nonetheless.
Hey, Tim, we know that we've crashed your celebration lunch. So thanks for talking to
Pleasure.
us. What's on the menu?
Oh, yeah.
Well, so far I've only just had a taste of a glass of wine, but I'm actually going to have a salad, so that's waiting. And I've also got a pork cotoletta because my diet has gone out of the window today since we're having a celebration lunch.
Who's buying?
We haven't got to that point yet, but of course I've gone with a couple of friends and my husband. I'm happy to pay. That's not the issue because after a very long process, more than anything else, I just actually want to be with people I love and care about.
Thanks so much for your time, Tim.
Thanks for that.